Hello, everybody. Anybody here in English? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Olga Vasilchuk from Costa Rica. Hello, everybody. Oops. Okay. Yeah, it's 4 p.m. in Costa Rica, and this time I went live in English 1 hour early. I went live 1 hour early in French also because you have the. It's too late for friends if I live stream at 2 p.m. Costa Rica. So in English 1 hour early this as well. So I have a cat and he doesn't want to sleep. He wants to play. Okay. He wants to go outside to the patio. So anybody? If anybody is here, I don't know. So meet Rumi. This is Rumi. This is my assistant. He doesn't want to sleep. He wants to play. He wants to go outside. And I need to focus on the analysis of transits. And he wants to play. He's 3 months. So say hello. Hello. Hello, astrology lovers. Ay, Masyanечка. Okay. In 40 minutes, we go outside to play with the butterflies, to meet different animals. Okay, Masyanya, please. I need to work, please. Okay, go, go, go. All right, my friends. So today I wanted to talk to you about the new moon that is about to occur in. It will be formed in a couple of hours. So it's 4 p.m. Costa Rican time. So the full moon, it's April 4 p.m. in Costa Rica. So the full moon will be formed on April 5th of April. 4:50 at night for Montreal, New York, Standard Eastern Time, and for Europe it will be 10:50 in the morning tomorrow, 5th of April. The particularity of this upcoming new, what did I say? They say full moon, I remember. The new moon, of course, in Aries. Its particularity is that it will open the midpoint of eclipses corridor. I mean that this moon phase and the next moon phase, the full moon in Libra in 2 weeks, these two moon phases will form, I mean, the Sun and Trinity will form a square, 2 squares twice, to the point of the eclipses of January 2019. So this new moon, the conjunction moon Sun, will form a square to the conjunction moon Sun, which was the new moon and the solar eclipse in Capricorn on January 5th or 6th. It depends on the country where you are. So it means that during the next week, we may live again the events, the circumstances that were activated by the eclipses of January. But these situations can be brought to our lives, but we'll confront them in a very conflictual form. Okay, so the next moon phase, the full moon in 2 weeks in Libra, will can already talk about the future, the subjects of the future eclipses of July 2019. Actually, the two upcoming weeks, this is the time when the subjects of the past eclipses of January and the future eclipses of July, they're overlapping. Okay, so this is the particularity of this new moon. Yeah, but he's a cute, I love him, but he was sleeping during Russian and French live streaming, but now he's active. He wants to go outside. Rumi. Okay. So, what about the month of April? A couple of words. Besides of the midpoint of eclipses corridor, In April 2019, Mercury and Mars, they're changing their signs. Mars is already actually in Gemini, and Mercury will enter Aries in the end of April. And what is interesting is that Mars, during the entire month of April, will not form any single major aspect. Only one in the end of April. This is crazy. No aspects. Then in April, 3 planets go retrograde. Pluto will be retrograde on the 24th of April, and since its orb is huge because it's the farthest planet of the solar system, its orb is very slow, yes, and its orb is big, so we can say that now already Pluto is stationary. Jupiter will get retrograde on the 10th of April, so now it is stationary. And Saturn will be retrograde in the beginning of May, so in the end of April it will become stationary. A formal retrograde weakness for Saturn and Jupiter, two social planets, would be rather a blessing because both of the planets are in the signs of their strength, of their rulership. Saturn is a Capricorn and Jupiter is in Sagittarius, in the signs of their rulership. So we should not expect any bad surprises from the retrograde phases of these two planets. So what about this new moon? To be formed in Aries, in the first zodiacal sign, in the 15th degree of Aries, 1517. And of course, the key words for Aries are, and for the new moon are a beginning, a start, a cardinal change in the literal and figurative sense of word. Why? Because Aries is a cardinal sign, and in the literal sense of word, the cardinal change means something radical, new, totally, starting from zero. Because it's Aries, the first sign. You always have to check in which house of your chart the conjunction of the sun and moon, so the new moon, is projected. It means that in this sphere of life, you can visualize plans, dreams, and projects for the next lunar month. Also, another keyword is new initiative, the keyword for Aries and the new moon. But yeah, all this is true, but we have to keep in mind that we are in the orb of the forming square Sun-Saturn, which will become exact on the 10th of April. We are now, today, at the moment of the new moon, in the orb of 5 degrees, okay, of the accurate exact conjunction. So this forming square Sun-Saturn ruins the entire picture of the new moon in Aries. So obstacles, oppositions, walls on our way, this is what we can encounter. We have to take into account, and that our plans and ideas for this lunar month will require serious efforts from our part. We have to see if we have to make an enormous effort if you want our plans to come true. There will be another square of the sun with the Pluto a little bit later. Sun square Pluto is exact on April 13. So we can say that, yes, during the moment of the new moon, we are in the orb even of the square Sun Pluto, because Pluto is slower than Saturn. So we accept a larger margin orb for these aspects. So two squares, forming squares, Sun, Saturn, Sun, Pluto, and stellium in Pisces. We have Mercury, Venus, and Neptune in Pisces at this moment, which blurs the way of our thinking, right? And objectiveness. So Aries gives impetus to action, encourages initiative, right? And this is the time when in the new moon in Aries, when we have to define our intentions, our plans, to draw, the plan for the next lunar month. But we can make projects that, designed for quick returns. We may expect very quick returns, but the ideas and things will not fully manifest themselves immediately. The speed of the forming of the new reality forming, you know, the creation of new reality, will be reduced. The speed will be reduced, and external and internal resistance may slow down or block even opportunities. So nothing is impossible, but we will have to double, to triple our efforts, and yeah, nothing will be easy. We'll be impatient to realize, to see the results of our projects for the month. But because of these two very tense, very difficult squares of the sun with the two slow planets, will not allow us to achieve results quickly and easily. Okay. What are other aspects of the upcoming 2 weeks? April 7, Mercury is in a sextile with Saturn. Mercury in Pisces needs Saturnian energy, right? We need some help from Saturn in order to focus. Successful solution of practical problems, ability to focus thanks to the Saturn, planning of long-term relationships, and all kind of contracts, negotiations, exchanges that aim, you know, long-term collaboration will be successful. Effective mental effort and tedious work will be made easier and faster. There's another gorgeous aspect. Actually, on the 10th of April, there are 4 events, 3 aspects and 1 phenomena. Jupiter gets retrograde. So Venus in conjunction with Neptune in the 17th degree of Pisces. Venus in the sign of its exaltation in Pisces, and Neptune in the sign of its rulership in Pisces. In conjunctions, just gorgeous, right? These will be days of more subtle perception of reality and of increased sensitivity. It's a special period for creativity in the broad sense of word, for people of creative professions, musicians, poets, painters, right? At the same time, the probability of unrealistic evaluations, excessive idealization of the object of our attraction, desire to take for reality what we imagine, what we desire. So a lot of illusions. Okay. But you always have to check, if you talk about transits, which are general for all of us. They have a very different impact on each of us. They have a very personalized impact on each person. If planets in transit don't form aspects, especially conjunctions with your personal planets in your natal chart, the aspect, even very tense, like square Sun, Saturn, or Sun, Pluto, will stay like a background aspect. You will not feel it at all. You have to see whether the transit planet, they touch your personal planets, or the angular cusps, the cusps of the angular houses. Ascended, descended, I see midheaven, and I see the 4th house. So the Sun is square with the Saturn in the 20th degree of Aries-Capricorn. If you have planets, especially personal planets from the Sun to Mars in the 20th degree of Aries-Capricorn, and in the other 2 cardinal signs, Cancer and Libra, you will be touched by this aspect, definitely. On one hand, we will feel the ability to work hard and productively. Concentration of will and will allow us to resolve our life problem, difficult problems, so high concentration. But there will be at the same time the temptation to abuse power, influence, to suppress someone else's will. Since the Sun in this astrological symbolism parameters symbolizes the inner, deep, supreme consciousness, our ego, our self-consciousness, our potential, as well as also in terms of health, the heart condition. During the square Sun-Saturn, if you are touched by this aspect, if your personal planets are touched by this aspect, you may experience an exacerbation of chronic cardiovascular diseases. So be careful. Pay attention to the heart. There may be obstacles, restrictions, and difficulties along the way during this aspect, but we will overcome them and we will achieve our goals if we apply a sufficient amount of diligence, perseverance. But you know that each life lesson can and is always considered as a precious gift of destiny. So maybe those who have a lot of air and find their chart, they won't be patient enough to overcome this very tense square with Saturn. So the same day, the April 10, Jupiter gets retrograde. The 24th degree of Sagittarius will be retrograde until August 11, and this may slow down the processes of socially significant growth and of spiritual development, causing our consciousness to look for opportunities for this, for the spiritual growth in our inner world. Well, you should know that the influence of the retrograde nature of the social, the superior planets, from Saturn, from Jupiter to Pluto, is not as strong and perceptible as the retrograde movements of the personal planets, from the Sun to, the Sun, the Mercury, Venus and Mars, those who, that can be retrograde, of course. But during retrograde period of Jupiter, is preferable that most of us, we don't expect a career growth or an increase in social status. We don't have to change professional family status without urgent need. They often say that if you have Jupiter retrograde in your natal chart, the retrograde transit movement is favorable for you. But well, me, when I analyze a birth chart, I don't consider the position of the social and the superior planets in the signs of the zodiac, and I don't consider the retrograde movement. It doesn't have any impact, any influence on the personality, because these planets, the social and slow planets, they don't have psychology. They have an impact only on the the level of events from events, not on psychology. So this thing can be discussed, you know. But I don't know whether if you have Jupiter retrograde in your chart. The most important is to see whether Jupiter retrograde or direct in its transit movement forms conjunctions with your natal planets, and even in this case, you have to see by which house of the chart that Jupiter is transiting. And if it forms a conjunction with, for example, your Sun, it means that in this sphere of life, because the Sun will be an element of a house, right? Specific particular house. So it means that in this sphere of life, you may expect success. If the house where the Jupiter is passing by is empty, no planets, so maybe this transit will stay just a background energy. You won't feel it at all. The same day, April 10, Mercury is in a sextile with the Pluto. It gives us ability to convince the interlocutor. We will have control over negotiations if we discuss something like business negotiations. This will be good days for business meetings. Research work will be successful, and we will have the ability to find what was hidden or lost. I mean, information or even objects, right? Hidden or lost. Yeah, sorry for your brother. I see your comment. Well, the square Sun Saturn is not exact today yet, and once again, maybe he must have there should be other reasons why he had this heart attack. It depends on his personalized astrological forecast predictions. So the transit they don't affect all of us in the same way. April 12th, Mercury is in square with Jupiter in the 24th degree of Pisces-Sagittarius. Check if you have planets in these degrees of Sagittarius, Pisces, and other two mutable signs, Gemini and Virgo. Mercury is still in the loop, retrograde loop. It is not transiting, not yet in its normal speed. So the time for Mercury to correct errors done during retrograde phase. But at the same time, these will be the days of still of possible mistakes in usual everyday work, in everyday routine. Distraction and forgetfulness can lead to all sorts of losses and problems. So be careful in all matters concerning money and concerning too tempting offers in business, because Mercury square Jupiter is the symbol of promises that they, when somebody promises you more than he can really do, overestimating his intentions and words. So be realistic. April 12th, the same day Venus is in sextile with the Saturn. This will be perfect days for formalization. I mean, the registration, when you sign up for any type of contractual relation, or from signing a commercial contracts up to a marriage. But no, in order to choose the best day to get married, it's not so simple. It's a rather complex procedure. If you want to be sure that you will be happy in your marriage, in your future marriage, you have to see the synastry first with your partner. And then if you want to select elective astrology, the marriage day, you have to see your own parameters of your chart. If Venus is retrograde in your natal chart, the retrograde transit phase of Venus will be favorable to you. So this is just a typical classical interpretation of Venus sextile Saturn, especially since Venus is direct and Saturn is direct. So good to sign all kind of contracts, and this will be a good period for acquisitions and profitable investments. So this is the second square that I already mentioned, April 13. The Sun is square with the Pluto in the 23rd degree of Aries-Capricorn. So check the 23rd degree of Aries-Capricorn, Libra, and Cancer in your chart, whether you have planets in here. There can be clashes, a very violent aspect. There can be clashes, conflicts, and power struggles in all spheres of life, family, work, school, university. If you don't have enough of force, strength necessary, which is necessary for a serious fight, battle, it's better for you not to get engaged in this fight. This war, because it will be the war, will only drain all your resources, all your energy. So, of course, it's a very unpleasant aspect. And if there were, if the second aspect that is formed the next day, the trine, Sun and Jupiter, if it was not here, helping to overcome the square Sun-Pluto, the square Sun-Pluto would be even dangerous. So the square Sun-Pluto gives tremendous energy and the will to transform, the capacity of transformation of the reality around us. But these energies can be rather destructive than creative. However, you know that it's impossible to build something new, a new reality, without destroying the old and obsolete reality. Thanks to the square Sun-Pluto, the way in front of us, the way, yes, the road, the highway is open. That leads where? That leads to a conscious and profound transformation of ourselves. That leads to the restructuring of our vision of the world. That leads to the restructuring of our relationship with the collectives. And that leads to the restructuring of our relationships with the existing power structures, because Pluto is the rule of Scorpio, right? Is the higher octave of Mars. It symbolizes the power of the crowd. April 14th, the Sun in square with Jupiter in the 24th degree of Aries-Sagittarius. So check if you have the planets in this degrees of the signs. These will be what do I say? Square? No, I don't remember. I'm a bit tired. Sorry. In trine, of course. Aries-Sagittarius. Of course, if you have planets in the 24 degree of Aries-Sagittarius and of Leo, of course, you will feel the aspect, because if you have, for example, the Sun in Leo in the 24 degrees, so the transit Sun and Jupiter will form trines to your Sun. So this will be perfect days for creative expression, whatever the sphere of life is, successful actions aimed at raising your social status to reach a high level of society. Yes, you can count on it. In personal relationships, there will be a possibility of new encounters, or of the possibilities of the introduction of something new, more alive, optimistic, into existing relationships. Taking into account the squared Pluto that is formed just one day before, all this that I have enumerated, the effect of this trine Sun Jupiter can be reinforced or can lead, on the contrary, to collapse. We have to expect the best, as always. We have to stay optimistic, but we have to stay extremely watchful. Well, in any case, okay, the Sun's trine Jupiter is one of the best aspects, whether it's a natalist chart or transit chart, right? So we will be optimistic, and we will be able to express all our points of view on a situation that can arise. We will be accompanied by a sense of fullness of life. We could be successful in public affairs and can be recognized by the society, by the public, by the environment. A broad social opportunities could also open in front of us. It's a gorgeous aspect, you know that. But keep in mind that Jupiter is retrograde since already the 10th of April. So it got retrograde 4 days before the trine with the Sun. So this harmonious aspect of the Sun with the retrograde Jupiter will allow us to feel the depth of our inner world and the deepening of the knowledge of life processes, of life philosophy, and the investigating over the structure, of the universe, of the world, will bring us the total satisfaction, of course. April 14, Venus in sextile with the Pluto. These will be the very favorable days for personal and romantic relationships. Don't forget that Pluto is a very powerful planet, is the ruler of Scorpio. So on one hand, we will have the ability to renew old contact or to build up new relationships and connections, but at the same time, we may feel the increasement of emotional dependence on the partner. This aspect can give also a chance of a successful purchase, especially during sales, if you have sales in your regions, and during all kinds of discounts, promotions. Successful purchase. Venus, the next day, Venus on April 15 in square Jupiter in the 24th degree of Pisces-Sagittarius. Yes, check if you have planets in these signs, in these degrees, and also in the 24th degree of Gemini and Virgo, mutables, other mutable signs. The two planets are in the signs of their rulership. Venus is in Pisces. It's the sign of its exaltation, and Jupiter is in Sagittarius, in the sign of its rulership. So you don't take this aspect as a threat, even if they're in a square, but they're in the signs of their exaltation and rulership, very strong positions. On the contrary, the underly exalted Venusian manifestations will be restricted by the generous and kind Jupiter. Maybe happiness and luck will have illusory contours, but at least there's a chance that they appear, happiness and luck, in a conflictual environment, of course, because we have here a square. We should be financially attentive and avoid abusing pleasures or the simulator of pleasures, food, alcohol, drugs. I mean, it's an example. Because this is the aspect of excesses. Square Venus, Jupiter in the food, alcohol, and also in money spendings. Coordinated ambitions and activities that are badly coordinated can create tensions in partnerships and in social activities, and inconsistent actions can lead to miscalculations, to mistakes, and to appearing of misconceptions, when we believe in something that is not real. In finances, once again, spending and money waste can go to its extreme. As I said, aspect of excesses. And well, on the other hand, as you know, any tension creates conditions for development and good conclusions, good actions that we undertake, that we make, I mean, conclusions and actions that we undertake will help, should help to liberate and to realize our creative abilities. So any tense aspect, square opposition is a chance for growth. And the last event of the 2 upcoming weeks, it's the ingression of Mercury into Aries on April 17. It will leave Pisces, will enter Aries, where it will stay until May 6. The transit of Mercury by Aries can give a very large number of thoughts, like a lot of thoughts are going to, they will born in here, many different ideas and a lot of intellectual values may appear in our minds, and it will happen in such a quantity that we won't be able to express all these thoughts and ideas in a coherent way, trying to captivate the interlocutor, inspiring him, or trying to inspire him with our ideas. We will want to catch, to subjugate, and to conquer the interlocutor. Aggressiveness in communication, right? Mercury in Aries. Remember that we have to control our temptation, our attempts to attain, to achieve dominance and assertiveness through our thoughts, through the way how we communicate them, and through our, style of communication with other people. Yes, this is what I wanted to tell you today. And maybe one more thing. As I mentioned before, like for many aspects, especially tense, like squares, Sun square Saturn, Sun square Pluto, Venus square Jupiter, right? Let me get back to the chart. For example, yeah, the transit aspect can influence you in 2 ways. First of all, of course, if you have a personal planet in the same degree where the transit planet is passing, transitive, of course, it will form, there will be a conjunction. It's the most violent, the most impressive impact of the transit on you. But if you have, for example, square Sun Saturn in your natal chart, but in other signs than Aries-Capricorn, there's 2 signs where we have the upcoming square now. If you have the Sun in Aquarius square Taurus, you will catch the energy of the square anyway, even if it will not, the transit square will not touch your personal planet. It's called the principle of resonance. You will feel the energy of the square, so it will resonate with you. It's less powerful. The most powerful is the conjunction of the transit planet with your native planet. Okay, my friends. Yeah, 5 people, but still. Anybody has questions? Is it useful? Yeah. I will go live with the tarot and Lenormand cards on YouTube in 2 weeks, April 20, the same time, 4 p.m. Costa Rica. So some short questions for a symbolic contribution, and during 48 hours after the live streaming, I mean in 2 weeks from April 20, you'll be able to order a basic reading of 30 and 60 minutes with a discount during the booking, when you book in my agenda. But well, I will announce it when I go live in 2 weeks. But before, there will be a live streaming on the full moon in Libra, and last degree of Libra on it will be the 19th, the full moon. But this is it for today, my friends. Do you have questions? So just watch it. Okay. So I wish you a wonderful new moon. Make projects, visualize your reality for the next lunar month in the sphere of life that corresponds to the house of the chart. where the new moon is projected, you know. For me, it will be the second house, finances. And thank you for your time and for your attention. And have a nice weekend, also upcoming weekend. And talk to you very soon. Goodbye.